Hey, as we get back into society, let's remember, people will punch you in the fucking mouth.
Welcome back to the Mad Mindset. I'm Drew Elder. I'm here with Brazilian Jiu Jitsu Black Belt, podcast host of the Oss Nation Podcast, and co-host of BJJ Balance Podcast, Matthew Veiga. Matt, thanks for taking your time out of your day to come on here and talk some shit with me today.
Hey, brother. Anytime, bro. Let's get after it. I'm happy to be here.
I appreciate it, man. So, for people who don't know about you, tell us a little bit about yourself, about your background, how you got started in jiu-jitsu, the podcast, all that.
Well, first, a long time ago, the year 2000-ish, I discovered UFC. Actually, I discovered UFC in like 1990s, and I'd always watch it, but there was a Best Damn Sports show back in the day, and Ken Shamrock, who I remember watching in the 90s, was going to fight Tito Ortiz, and it was all over that show. And I kind of fell back in love with MMA. I really started to like it. And as my athletic career failed me, I just had nothing to do. And just lifting weights was not fun for me. So I decided to, my cousin was like, hey, why don't you try UFC? We didn't know it was MMA back then, right? So why don't you try UFC? So I'm like, okay, let's I went to a class, got beat up pretty bad. Then it was different back then. Then I came back the next day and they knew that I was like, okay, this guy's for real. And then I started training MMA, and then I was learning jiu-jitsu under a blue belt at the time. So, because there was not really many black belts around. So my journey at the beginning of being like a 5-year white belt, because there was no black belts around. Now there's black belts everywhere, but back then there wasn't any. And I ended up finally finding a gym, ended up getting a blue belt under a guy named Fabiano Silva at American Top Team. And then he, as Brazilians do, they leave the country. They don't come back. So then I was out of a school again. And so I ended up finding another professor, the current one I have now, Ricardo Feliciano. I've been with him for about over 10 years now. I've been training for about 16 years in the gi. And I got my black belt under him in 2019. I just got my second degree on my black belt
Congratulations.
last summer. Awesome. Yeah, so I've been with him for a while. And then I've always been like little Matt Veiga in school. Every report card said, a pleasure to have in class, but talks too much. And I'm going to tell you this right now, Miss Crandall, look who's fucking laughing now. Because your boy uses this mouthpiece. I wish my jiu-jitsu is good. I would say I'm a legit black belt under a legit banner, and I am good. But I talk better than I roll. I'll tell you that right now. And there's no defense. Charisma, if I was creating a character like on Elder Scrolls, charisma is like, whoop, and then my jiu-jitsu is like here. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
But I just started creating memes, and I wanted to do demos, and I saw guys like jiu-jitsu and all these other guys in the space, and they were doing that, and I'm like, how do I compete, or what makes me different than these guys? And that's being the top 50 funniest guys you've ever known. So
forgot to put that accolade in there at the beginning. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Well, now you know me. Now you name 50 funnier people than me. You're not going to.
Yeah.
So I started making memes, and memes would bring people to my page, and then I would show a demo, and I get more eyeballs on my demos. And so now I kind of become like, I was known as like a meme guy, but I don't want to be just a faceless page with just memes. So I want to put my face out there. So I kind of like sprinkle it in, and it's kind of just steamrolled over time. And I've had some pretty good opportunities to roll some pretty big names now. And it's pretty crazy that the people used to look up to as a lower belt are now like my peers. And it's been a wild ride. I'm very blessed.
That's awesome. When you say like back in the day, like what year were you talking? I mean, I started doing jiu-jitsu when I was 18. I just started off and on. I had kind of a similar background to you. I started doing MMA first and foremost, and I took a no-gi class, and I fucking hated jujitsu. I was like, "I don't wanna do this, man. This is too smothering. I'm getting pressed up against people's chests and all this shit," and I'm like, "Nah, this
Mhm.
ain't for me." And then I started
I
fighting, and I was like, "I kinda have to get,
get
at
off the
least know
ground.
an escape from here." So when you say back
Right.
in the day, like, what year were you talking?
So it was probably 2005 when I started training under the blue belt and MMA. I was doing my MMA stuff, but I really didn't start to the legit gi training under a black belt until about 2008, 2009. That's when I really started learning jujitsu. So that first 3 years of white belt was under a blue belt. So I was a white belt. So when I went to the traditional class, I thought I was okay, but really I started struggling because my technique was so lacking. I was just basically a big dude who lift weights, and I was the king of the spazzes. Um, it is what it is, but now we've kind of like toned that down.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, did you have any professional MMA fights, or was it just amateur, or were you just getting into it
I
just to
did some smokers, and I did like 4 or 5 smokers. Went to Team Quest, tried out for their AME team back in the day. Blew my knee out really, really bad, a real bad one, and uh, I thought it was done for me. So between then there was like from like 2006 to 2007, there was that 2 years period before I found the gi, where I was just like, I'm just gonna take steroids and lift and get real strong. So
Yeah.
I just like
Yeah.
was in the gym, just Jack 3D original blend, just
Oh, yeah.
crushing it. You
That's
know what I
good.
mean?
Yeah.
And then I found the gi again because I was like, I can't take any more leg kicks because back in the day, MMA, Gladiator Challenge, King of the Cage, they give you 500 to show, 500 to win.
Yeah.
And I was making more of that at my 9 to 5. And I was like taking care of my brother at the time. And I was like, I can't really afford to like have another knee injury. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I kind of stopped my fighting career in its tracks and I just focused on jujitsu after that.
Do you regret anything like that, or do you looking back on everything, are you like, maybe I should have kept with it for, like, another year or so, or see where it
I'm gonna
could've
be honest. I'll be honest with you. I think that if I would have pursued MMA, I think I could have maybe climbed the ranks in the King of the Cage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Pipe dream, maybe because I mean I was low belt, I was blue belt
Yeah.
at best. So my jujitsu was not there. I was 24 at the time. So like my age was getting a little old for MMA.
Right. Yeah, people don't
Um,
understand that that's getting up there.
so I don't think like my professor was also fighting MMA at the time and he was smoking me every day. So am I
Yeah.
ever gonna be the champion? No. I can't even beat the own guy in my room.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
Right.
I'm thinking to myself, like, maybe pipe dream I get like an undercard UFC but back then there was only like one UFC a month. There wasn't a big
Yeah.
roster. So that I'll be honest with you, I probably wouldn't have made UFC either. And
Yeah.
I just was like, I just got into the game too late and it wasn't for me. I wasn't a guy who did jujitsu from like 9 years old all the way through to the kids belts. I was just learning as an adult on the fly. So honestly, don't think I probably would have made it too far. I would have could have maybe competed for maybe a King of the Cage title or something, and then what I mean, which would have been
Yeah.
cool pictures to have. I have
Right.
regrets of that.
Yeah. Cool flex,
Having
but
no pro fights, I have regrets of like not having pictures of me in the cage, which I've
yeah.
kind of like thought in my 40s now, like, man, maybe I should just take one just to get get the content. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah. But, well, circling back, you are dealing with a knee injury now as well, and how is that? How are you feeling from that?
I had a knee surgery 2 weeks ago. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I feel pretty good. I'm actually gonna teach tomorrow.
Oh,
Um,
sweet.
I don't know when this is being reposted, but I'm gonna teach tomorrow, and there's still like putting weight on the knee, like my knee's on the mat. I can
Yeah.
feel the pressure on my knee that hurts still. It's very, very sore. But like walking and moving and pushing, I don't feel any pain. I just had 4 tears in my meniscus that they just took my meniscus out.
Oh,
So
wow.
I've had
Okay.
3 knee surgeries on my right knee, which is a real bad knee replacement. And then in my left one, it was just a meniscus clean. But he says that needs a replacement too. But this is the life we live.
Yeah, there's really nothing you can do about injuries in combative sports like this. It's just kind of you just gotta have to deal with them,
Right.
which is kind of, I mean, depending on who you are, and who you're around and how you roll. I mean, it can suck because you get back in the gym and you're kind of like cautious a little bit about not tweaking your knee or not doing something right or rolling the wrong way or whatever. Do you ever feel like you're just going to throw caution to wind and just keep training however you train, or just are you more along the lines of like, let me put on some braces, let me do some old man jujitsu?
You have to evolve. You have to change your game as you get older. If you're trying to do the distance running, a sprinter is never going to win a marathon,
Right.
right? But at what cost of being too sensitive of your rolls? Like, am I going to be too safe and then be considered a bitch on the mat? That's not going to be me. You know what I mean? Like I'm known for bringing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if the day I can't do that, what am I even here for? I don't want to be a mockery of what I was.
Yeah.
I don't know if you follow other sports.
I do, to an extent.
So we know who Vince Carter is, the basketball player.
Yeah.
Big time
Yeah.
So Vince Carter is there's not even a debate. He's the greatest slam dunker in NBA history
Of all time. Yeah.
No, everybody's like Vinsanity. He's crazy. When the 90s or early 2000s,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
so many crazy, right?
Yeah.
He
We
had a
got his hand
long
stuck in the
career.
ring. Yeah.
Exactly. The
Yeah.
best. No one's
Yeah.
he had a long career and he played up to like 2 years ago and he was in his
Yeah.
40s. And there was a highlight of he got a dunk at like 41 years old, which is awesome. But the bench was just a basic little dunk. The bench celebrated and jumped up at a thing like all crazy, like, oh my God. That's all these young kids were like freaking out. Oh, sorry.
It's all good.
I got this stupid cold. Oh, these benches freaking out. And I was like, they made a mockery of what he was.
Yeah.
Because he was in it too long. Like they were like freaking out. I don't want people to be like, oh, look at Matt hit a basic armbar. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, bro, I do this in my fucking. It's like when an older person, like in their 80s, whatever, like gets up and like takes the trash out or something, and you're like, "Oh yeah, thank you for helping out." You're like, "I'm taking out the fucking trash, man. This ain't like some
Look
spectacular."
at him. He's still after it. Like, no, man. I'm just. I do
Yeah.
want a coral belt. I do.
Yeah.
That I people used to say when I wanted a black belt, people were like, "You're not even training for a black belt. How are you gonna get one?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Look, I want a coral belt. That's like 30 years from now.
Yeah.
I'll be like 60 something, maybe 70. I don't know, but like that's something I want. And people said I wasn't gonna get a black belt, but we'll see. Hopefully, I can go that long.
Yeah.
The way my body is, I don't think so. I don't know if I'm gonna make it. I don't know if I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna try.
Yeah. All you can do is try. That's it. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, back in the day, when you say like when I started doing jiu-jitsu too, there weren't many black belts. I was doing when I first put on the gi. I was in college up in Nacogdoches, Stephen F. Austin, in the middle of fucking nowhere, and I was learning under blue belt myself as well. And I put on the gi, and I was like, man, I don't want to wear these pajamas. This is fucking dumb. And then 5, 10 years, 15 years later, like there's a shitload more black belts out there, like you said, and the sport's just evolving day by day, month by month, year by year. I live in Austin, or I live in Houston now, but Austin's kind of like a huge mecca for jiu-jitsu with B Team over there and New Wave and all those guys. It's cool to see.
Do you now? I'm gonna ask you some stuff because this is
Yeah,
kind of
sure.
how I am. Okay, because I'm not really into the interview style. Now I just like having fun.
Great.
Do you now? So we all know the leg game is the wave right now.
Oh,
Everybody's
dude, yeah.
diving for feet. Everybody's dropping to their ass cheeks. Everybody's
Yeah.
ripping ankles. Right? Do you think? Because as I'm watching these, I'm being invited to like PGF and all these events. People are like in the background, maybe little murmurs. Like everybody hates the wrist lock. Everybody's like, "Oh, you wrist lock,
Oh,
piece
dude,
of shit."
I love the wrist lock.
You look
I'll
like
tell
you like the
straight up,
fucking
I'm
wrist
fucking
lock, dude.
classic
You look like a wrist locker, dude. But anyway, people always, wrist lockers, this, wrist locker. And I'm not saying that the leg locks are going to go away. I think the leg
Yeah.
locks, of course, it's the fastest way to end a fight quickly in jiu-jitsu right now. There's no denying that. But when I see people drop their, I hear people go, "Oh man, another foot game, the boring match. You're gonna die." People are playing feet. People are starting to like. There's like little rumblings in the back of like people are like, "Oh, this Foot Locker. Like it's like I feel like in like 5 to 10 years, especially with the evolution of all these great wrestlers that are starting to do jiu-jitsu now,
Yeah.
that like the Foot Locker is gonna be like, "You wrist locker," like, because they want the double, like, the smashing, the passing, the neon belly, like, all the fun stuff in jiu-jitsu, the stuff that looks cooler, more presentational to your eyes. That in 10 years, 5, 10 years, the Foot Locker might become the modern day how we look at wrist lockers now.
Yeah. I can agree to that because, like, when I started doing jiu-jitsu, like, you throw up an ankle lock, somebody's like, "What the fuck? What are you doing, man?" They get all pissed, and now everyone, like you said, everyone drops down. It's a fad, I
And
think.
it's ruined the guard. I mean,
Right.
it's ruined guard passing rather. It's
Yeah.
ruined the fundamentals. You have too many young guys drop into their butt cheeks and they don't know how to pass guard anymore. The guard passing is way down right now. And cooking the art of cooking your opponent and the art of smashing your opponent and making pressure be the key to giving a neck. All that is diminished dramatically because people just mimicking the greats that are great at footlocks. But you guys don't realize that like guys like Craig Jones and guys like Gordon Ryan and Mikey Musumeci, all these world-class footlocking guys, they didn't start doing that at white and blue belt. They know how to pass.
Yeah.
They know how to do all this other stuff, and then they've evolved their game. They've added to it. You got to learn how to shoot a layup or dribble a ball before you can dunk
Whip
it
a
or
heel
be a
hook.
Vince
Yeah.
Carter. You know what I mean? Like,
Right,
you gotta
yeah.
learn.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I definitely agree with that too, and I think in jiu-jitsu, the guard passing and the takedown game are 2 facets that are just kinda, like, not necessarily glossed over, but, like, more people are like, "I'm gonna get my grips and sit down," whatever, or in no-gi, it's more takedown centered, of course, but I still feel like some guy in no-gi now, it's more takedown centered, but it's also more footlock centered now too.
I mean, I would say that I agreed with you originally, but as I'm w be it I'm blessed to be at all these no-gi events. No-gi is what's popular with the masses
Right.
right now, like, visually. I still think gi is more popular generally if you look at the tournament landscapes of jiu-jitsu. Most tournaments offer both. It'll be gi from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., no gi from 3 to 5, and then absolute gi from 7 to 9. Like, so I do think there's way more people training in the gi, but visually it's no gi. And when I'm watching it, watching gi matches, you're seeing a lot more eighth grade slow dances, more gi throws, more attacks when you see at the I'd say 160 pounds and up. When you see no-gi guys, there's a lot of this double drop into their ass because they're trying to get that quick hitter, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
for the
I
footlocks.
would say like it's crazy, but like if you want more exciting match, and I thought and 5 years ago I'd have been like, it's no gi because it's loose, there's no grips. I think some of these gi matches are phenomenal with the lapel drags and the freaking tosses and the you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
there's so much, like, crazy bone arrow chokes from the back standing, and there's a lot of crazy stuff that you can see in the gi and no gi. You're seeing pretty much a lot of the same match where it's just, like, drop every freaking time or, like, there's not really crazy there's only like so many set submissions you can do.
yeah. I mean, I watched, Who's Number One, I think a few months back, and it was with Mikey Musumeci, and I forget who his opponent was, but he was down there. Obviously, he's one of the greatest to hit leg locks on everybody, so he was just spamming him the whole time. My wife was sitting there watching it with me, and she's like, is this only the only thing this guy knows how to do?" And I'm like, "He's one of the greatest grapplers of all time." "No, but he's really good at this one thing."
No, I mean, it's not fun to watch. I mean,
Yeah, that is getting away from the excitement for sure.
look
I
at
think his name
a
brings a
bat I'm
lot.
gonna keep using basketball analogies. The slam dunk competition is cool, but when
Yeah.
you've seen all the dunks,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's next year, who's in it? You're like, "Oh, same dunks." You can only do so much, like, we want
Yeah.
change, we want difference, and right now, all you're seeing in high level guys is this leg attacks.
Yeah. That's why I like wrist locks. Why would I ignore 0.1% of the body? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it, and then guess what? The wrist lock attack is not as prevalent as the leg attack, so I still
Yeah.
think you're pretty good.
Um, can I ask you what there's this new thing out there. called ecological jiu-jitsu.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you've heard about it or not. Well, what's your stance on it? And that
Well,
between like that learning ecological jiu-jitsu and like sports jiu-jitsu and all this other, I don't know all the terminology for all this shit.
so I've actually talked to the guy I was talking to him. He's in one of my comments, Greg Saunders. And he was saying that I have no clue what I'm talking about. I don't know the facts. So, but look, what I'm saying is it's basically like they don't like the drilling of the move, and in ecological jiu-jitsu they don't like. And to me, I'm like, what is you have to before you can walk, you gotta learn how to tie your shoes.
Yeah.
Like, imagine just being like, as a coach, you come in as a green as goose shit white belt and you don't know anything, and you walk in. I'm like, okay, just go out there and roll.
Yeah, what are you what are you getting out of that?
Right. Yeah, I don't know how you gonna like. Oh, he even said one part of the podcast, the debate with him and Tom DeBlas and Big Dan. He said, if you cross your feet behind somebody on the back, that's not wrong. He's learning his own way. I'm like, no. If I see one of my lower belts
Yeah.
cross their feet when they take the back, I'm like, dude, you're gonna get your leg snaps. Don't do that.
Yeah.
I feel like you need proper instruction. Drilling, we're living off the legends all before us. Everybody who's literally given their neck for this sport, all these Buchechas and Hodgers and all these great guys, you're going to tell me that their way is wrong? I don't believe it. He also said, geez, I'm talking about basketball a lot. He also said in a debate that he doesn't think Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan got better from being the first person in practice and the last person to leave and taking extra reps. He believes they learned all their skills off of just live scrimmaging. I said, that is the most, when I heard him, I was like, that's the most bullshit thing I've ever heard in my life. Then why the fuck was Kobe waking up at 3 a.m. every day to go train before class started at 6? First one in, first one out, drilling, practicing that shot 1,000 times. Like,
Yeah.
it's been proven that
Yeah.
it's effective. Like, what are you gonna do with a kids class if you're teaching ecological jiu-jitsu? All right, kids, go for it.
Dodgeballs. Yeah. Yeah. I think, like, when you drill jiu-jitsu, like, you can make drilling like live sparring. You know, at my academy, we do a bunch of, sweep, pass, sweep, or submit. You know, so your goal on bottom is to pass, sweep, or submit, or your goal on top is to pass, of course, and if you get passed, then you lose, and you go back into the end of the line. It's like line sparring, and to me, that gives me I mean, I'm a purple belt, I'm not good at jiu-jitsu by any means, but, like, that gives me
Oh,
the
boy.
chance to be
Purple
like
belt. Oh, boy. You married?
I am married, yeah.
Hey, you get your purple belt the wrong time, bro.
I heard you. Oh, well, I'm gonna touch base on that one in a second. I heard your little spiel on purple belts not too long ago.
All right, dude.
But to me, it's like you get back in the line, and it's like, okay, when you get back out there, then it gives you a chance to pass or whatever, and you can work whatever you want to work at that point in time. But if you're just going out there just rolling, then it's almost like boxing sparring, but you're sparring at 100%. You know, you're out there, you're throwing your jabs, crosses, whatever else, and you're kind of afraid to get fucked up because you're sparring so hard. But if you tone it down to like 50%, 40%, you can kind of fuck around and play with shit that you want to play with, which is, I think, one of the points of drilling, other than building that muscle memory, that mind to muscle connection.
I think you're right. I mean, I think being creative with your sparring and situational sparring and all that kind of stuff, I think that is very beneficial to your game. I think you do learn a lot about it, because if you don't situational spar or ecological spar, you will never be put in those positions, because generally as athletes, we all want to go into our most preferred position. If I like to play, half guard, I'm always going to jump half guard. Situational sparring is like, hey, no half guard. You're playing from De La Hiva today, and we're trying to sweep from here, and you're forcing yourself to learn another tool in your game. I think that's fine. I just don't think that should be all you do. We need to learn how to armbar. We need to learn how to do these other things. Once you get to a higher level, purple and above, purple, brown, black, and you just want to be like, I think maybe if you just did that every day, you would be more creative. You could learn, but like, you don't have any fundamentals. White and blue belts where you develop fundamentals. White and blue belts where you learn how to Granby roll, where you learn how to escape the hip, where you learn how to pass the guard, where you learn how to do all these things. If you don't know how to do it and you don't know where to, you learn how to tap by putting your hand in the wrong spot
Right.
and why you shouldn't put it there. If a professor never tells you that that's wrong, and you're just going to have a very flawed technical game. And that's just my opinion. And I don't know. I mean, hey, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe in 10 years, this is the way. You know, like, look at this guy. This old dude thought shooting a layup like this was cool. Look at it. That's not cool at all. Maybe that'll happen. And I need to quit talking about basketball. But
I don't think it'll happen just because jiu-jitsu is so traditional in terms of like the art itself.
It is. And I don't know who he got his by. I thought it was Lloyd Irvin. He said in the DMs he trained under Lloyd Irvin, who's a legend. He's got some off the mat stuff that he has to work on, but he is a legit black belt, and that's a legit banner. But he said he didn't get his black belt under Lloyd, so I don't know who he did. But by saying that his way is the drilling was wrong, and he's the one to create this, you're basically spitting in your professor's face because you're telling me the way you're this good is because of your own methods. That's like giving yourself a belt. That's like, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I was like, why would you spit on the people before? You're like spitting on Helio's grave by saying that drilling isn't cool.
Yeah.
I was like, I
Yeah.
don't know. And I'm all about respect. I'm all about lineage, you know?
Absolutely. And like I said, I think drillers make killers. That's been the phrase in jiu-jitsu for the longest time, as far as I can remember. So like you stop drilling, like I just think it's not necessarily a waste of time, but
I've been in the game for a lot of years, and there's still times I'm be watch a reel and I'll save that. Oh shit, I never seen that.
yeah,
I'm gonna drill that.
right.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like
drill. That's the key word
you,
right
you
there.
tell me that
Yeah.
nothing. You telling me that you've learned all you need to learn, and now you're just going to figure out your own style.
No.
Like you can't learn anything else from someone showing you something. That's retarded.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, and you can choose how hard you drill it. Like you can go with no resistance to get oh, I need to grab here, I need to move my hips here, I need to get this, blah, blah, blah. And then you can step it up from there so you can get more of like real time. Like, oh, my coach would be like, hey, we're not trying to kill each other, but maybe go like 60%, give them some resistance so they can kind of get the timing, feel what you're about to do, and
Right.
work that one move.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
So I had a friend that wanted me to ask you, what is, in your opinion, what's the best submission and why is it the wrist lock?
Okay, so there's an inside joke. I got wrist lock. I get wrist lock. I hate wrist locks. So I actually got wrist locked my last tournament. The guy did like I had never seen. I had seen it on the internet, but I didn't know it was legit. That's just legit. He
Yeah.
fucking took his gi, went over my arm, and started spinning around from the
Saw
stand
that,
up.
yeah.
Caught me, bro. I was like, dang.
Wow.
I won't fall for that shit again, though. I'm ready for my rematch. But yeah, so I'm like, oh, you pussy ass shit. I didn't even get a chance to fight.
Yeah.
But that shit works. Wrist locks hurt. They're legit, but like, I don't know. I just, you know, they're just the scum of the earth, dude.
I will use them to get out of shit, to be
A
honest.
wrist lock is the foot stomp in MMA.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know, they hurt.
Yeah.
But like, dude, quit stomping on my feet.
Yeah.
Fight me, dude. You know what
Right.
I mean? Man, Sarah, foot stomps. Fucking like, hey, man, stop that. Like, hey,
Yeah.
quit stomping on my toes. Kick me. I don't want to hear that.
Punch
You know what I
me,
mean?
take
It's,
me
it's
down,
the
do
same
something.
thing. It's the same thing. It's the same energy as a foot stomp.
So
My favorite submission, though, pressure tapping. I love tapping people
Ooh.
to pressure. I love neon belly. And just someone to be like, I can't take it no more. And they just tap out.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a big guy. You know what I mean?
you have talked exclusively about there not being enough cooking in jiu-jitsu.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, how much do you weigh?
I'm about 253.
Okay, so you're a bigger dude. So do you think cooking is easier for? I mean, I'm assuming it's easier for bigger guys, but little
Yeah,
guys, you weigh 190, 200 pounds roughly.
Yeah, but there's a way you can cook. You could cook by just cardio cook. Well, that's
Oh
a good
yeah,
topic. Hey, cardio cooking. That's a good topic. I just got me something right there. You can give me that one. Cardio cooking is like if you're like boom, passing back, inside out, spinning on the guy, up, boom, boom, boom. And the guy's just like, dude, I don't know where this guy's at. Next thing you know, he's fucking exhausted. You just put him in a fucking scramble for 2 minutes because you're just one step ahead of him. That's cardio cooking. You can cook as a little. As a big, you nestle in. You just every time they breathe, you get heavier, heavier. That's the traditional big guy style. But cardio cooking, yeah, for sure. Just be, I don't know if there's an old tape on YouTube, Galval just spinning on this guy,
Oh, when
and
he's, like, on his back and he puts his
yeah,
knees in, yeah.
and he
Yeah.
pushes him over. They don't fucking cardio cook the fuck out of that guy.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that
Yeah.
guy was like, dude, what the fuck? Like,
Right. What is happening here? What?
yeah.
Yeah.
So you can cardio cook. So little guys, they can cook. They just gotta. It's a different type of cooking. You know what I mean? Like it's just
Yeah.
like, yeah, and they can be heavy. You can be heavy if you learn how to put your weight. A little 130-pound guy, if he puts his weight right and his hips are way down, he could feel 210 pounds. So
Yeah.
you can cook. And then generally in weight classes, you're only fighting your guys your own size. So a 130-pound man can cook a 130-pound man.
Yeah.
You know what I
No.
mean? Like, so it all depends on the situation. But if you're trying to cook, if you're a littler guy or a little, as I call him, and you're trying to cook a bigger guy, then yeah, you probably want a cardio cook.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, there's a guy at my gym, he's a cardio maniac, and that's what he does, and I rolled with him one day, it was a few months back, he's a brown belt, he's really good, and, I was like, "Man," I was getting fucking gassed just when he was like, "Yeah, man, that's what I was looking for. I'm just looking for you to go," and then I step it up and just go from there, and I'm like, "That's
Yeah.
pretty good little strategy."
Yeah. Cardio is awesome, dude. If you have it, it's a weapon. You should weaponize what you got. If you're big, you got a belly, put your belly on them. If you
Yeah,
got if you got cardio, use your cardio. If you're fast, fast. If you're strength, if you're a guy who just lifts a lot of weights, I'm really, really strong. Don't ever not be strong. Some of these professors will be like, more technique, more technique. And yeah, there's something to that. But also don't forget what brought you to the dance. You're strong. You've worked on that. Don't abandon it. Don't abandon your power.
yeah. How would you tell a guy that uses a lot of strength to instead of using technique, how would you get him to use both together? You know, you don't want someone necessarily just to explode all the time and use all their strength. You want them to
Right.
use
So
the
so
technique.
generally a raw white belt will be a real powerhouse gym guy, football player, whatever. He's gonna love being on top.
Right.
So I tell my bigs, if you're under 200, if your opponent is under 200 pounds, you pull. Because I
Mm.
don't mind you being on top and being explosive and head arm triangle and whatever you want to do on top, but you got to sweep them legit first to get there. So if my bigs are under, if you're going to get someone under 200, you pull. Unless they're the same belt level or they're a belt level higher than you, then whatever. But if you're going against somebody that you're going to just, especially if they're starting on the knees in class, they just knee tap you and you're on top every freaking time, or they just bury you down. I was like, no, you're gonna pull. You're gonna start from your ass cheeks, and you're gonna work your way up because we got to develop a guard. You got to develop technique. You got to sweep them properly because someday someone's gonna put you on your ass. So I want you guys to do that. And then it's the professor's job to be like, okay, this guy's a powerhouse. He's a genetic freak, but you don't know nothing. It's good. I cannot give him this white belt right off this first roll because I know he's just gonna spaz and be athletic and dominate him. I'm gonna give him this grimy blue, this grimy purple right here. I'm gonna give him this brown belt over here. I'm gonna have him do one of my black belts over here. All right, now go with this guy and pull guard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
Like, I'm not gonna
yeah.
let them just murk some new white belt over here on his first roll. Like,
Yeah.
I gotta know, I gotta set it up to be like, and that's your professor should know his room and know who's what and who should roll with the women and who can't roll with the women. He should know all that. So that's to me, that's the key to uh
Being a
getting
big,
the
strong.
spazzy to work
Yeah.
on more technique. You force
Yeah.
them to because you gas them.
I talked to a friend of mine. He's a big, strong motherfucker. He's a blue belt, and I told him he was asking me. We were just talking about just jujitsu one day, and I was like, "Bro, whenever I roll with you, I don't. I know I'm not going to out athletic you or out strength you, but if I slow down, then I can get you." He's like, "Yeah, I got to work on doing that." I'm like, "But
Hey,
he's a powerhouse dude, man, and but he recognizes it though, and I think some people who are like him, they don't really recognize it right away, and then you have someone tell them like, "Oh, don't use strength," and that's not the
that's
right
wrong.
attitude. Yeah, right,
You should use
exactly.
your strength.
Yeah,
That's what you got. You use your strength. Don't
right.
be afraid of it, but
Yeah,
um know when to use it. I don't like people to I generally am a pretty strong guy. So, but I don't when I was a white belt, I would show people my strength away. As soon as you grab me, like, oh fuck, this guy's strong. I could tell.
Yeah.
Now when I grab you, it's light. It's little grabs. I don't want people that I've never rolled with to feel my power until I'm ready to sweep you with explosive, or I'm ready to jump me on belly. Then you feel my power. I don't want people to download my power, because if they download my power early and I've done nothing with it, when I try to surprise them with a sweep or an explosive move, they've already felt it. They've already downloaded it earlier in the round, and they won't be ready for it. They'll be ready, a little more ready for it. It won't take them off guard as much, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes that for sure. Sometimes he'll be chilling there and you're almost like expecting him to just blast off. And
Yeah.
you're right. I think if you just kind of like lull him in a little bit, you know.
Like if you've never rolled with him before, and he's just like really methodically and just playing a little half and blah blah blah. You don't know how strong he is. Like this guy looks like a strong guy, but he's pretty chill right now. And the first time he goes, you're gonna get swept because you've never felt it.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like he downloaded it, and he didn't only download it, but he was conserving his power bar. It's like fucking playing Mortal Kombat. Everybody's got this fucking power bar, right? And like if you fucking you're draining your own shit down here, then by the time you try to explode, you got nothing left. You
right.
want to like preserve it till when you're ready to explode, you have a lot left.
Yeah. What do you think about how would you deter people from trying to win in the gym? Because I mean, we've talked about it, not me and you, but like I've talked about it with some of my friends at the gym, and you know, I always tell them like I don't give a fuck how many times I get tapped out at the gym. I'm not trying to win every round. I'm not trying to win most of my rounds. I'm trying to work one specific thing. Like right now, I'm stuck on guillotines. I'm just trying to fucking guillotine everybody.
Mhm.
And so like I don't care if I get smashed or tapped out, whatever. I'm just trying to work my guillotines.
So you have competition, you compete, and you fought before, right?
I have, yeah,
I would say when you compete, that changes your mindset and you're in the training room. A lot of people who never compete, every night at the gym or every morning at the gym is pants, is worlds, and they're trying to get W's because they don't want to take that long drive home with the music off and take that long shower with the water hitting down. Like, why did I put my hands there again? He swept me again. Because
crying.
the rounds in the gym are so important. If you compete once, you realize there's another level of like intensity to it. And when you go back to class the next week, what it does is it opens up your mind to learn, because you're like, wow, that was competition. Now I'm like, these are my teammates. It separates it. For the new guys who never compete, or the journeyman, or the in-class belts who just don't like to compete, which is fine, I guess. When you're just competing in class, they that everything is the fucking mundo house.
Yeah,
So you gotta like I tell my guys, you compete once, you realize what competition is, and you realize what class is. If you have the gold medals, you don't have nothing to prove to anybody.
yeah, yeah. That's fair. I mean,
You've
I've met
competed. You've competed. You know what it's like to be on the medal stand. You've know what it's fighting MMA. You've done all that. So losing in class means nothing to you. What do you have to
no,
prove?
no. But I have met people who are active competitors who still, when they show up in the gym, it's still like ADCC for them. And you like
Yeah.
people who have competed and won medals and stuff like that. I mean, it's and you can't. I don't know. I feel kind of bad telling them like, hey, fucking relax. We're in the gym. Like this ain't. You know, we're not
Brown
at some
belts, dude. Are they brown belts?
no.
Okay. Because usually the brown belts, they're like so like want the professor to give them that black belt so bad that they're just stunting on everybody, dude. That's usually the thing for the brown belts. They're like trying to like, I want my black belt. Everybody's getting their neck wrung tonight. I don't give a fuck, dude. Professor's watching. Hey, he's looking now, bro. Like
Yeah, yeah.
that's usually it for that's how I was as a brown belt.
The brown belts at our gym, it depends on who you roll with, but like one of them he competes all the time, and like he's very good, and so he's always in competition mode just because he's competing. He just did a submission hunter. He did 10th Planet Austin, Texas's fight night jiu-jitsu not too long ago. He's doing Jiu-Jitsu World League, I think this coming weekend, and then something else the next weekend. He's competing all the time, so he's always in that mode. But then whenever he's not, like you can tell, you'll be like, "Hey, what's up, man?" He's like, "What's up?" And it'll be like not like a flow roll per se, but it'll be much more relaxed. You can just tell from the person.
I like tough rounds. I like rolling hard. I like all that, but I don't like. So when I was as a bigger guy, I've said this before. It's easier to get a black belt as a bigger guy than it is as a smaller guy, because as a bigger guy, I can say I'm going to be on top and rest, and I can find spots to rest. Even at blue belt, I could find spots to rest. Littler guys, no, he's putting me on bottom or I'm putting on bottom. That's just,
Right.
and I don't know where I'm going to rest. I got to get this guy off me, right? So, and so when they make it to black belt, it's harder because they've had a lot of more taps that I guarantee than the bigger guy, right?
Yeah.
So I tell guys that, like, when I would roll with guys, I would beat them quick, and then the next round, I would like help them, or I would let them work a little more. I wouldn't just beat them for a 5-minute round. I've already subbed you once. Like, I showed you.
Yeah.
This is what's gonna happen.
I can do this if I
Now,
want to.
now let's roll. Let's roll and move. Like, if you just keep dominating the same guy over and over again, you're gonna defeat them mentally, and they might not want to come back. You want your guys to come back to training. Um, this is a bad analogy, and I used this in my podcast last week. It's
Is it
kind of
bad?
like having a threesome with your girl. Okay. That being said, look, you want to, hey, honey, what do you think? All right, let's have a couple glasses of wine. Let's do it. All of a sudden, you get this new bird in your room, and you're like, cool. What do? You don't pay attention to the new bird. That's the first thing you don't do, Drew. You don't pay attention to the new bird. The new bird is for eyes only. You pay attention to your girl the whole
Yeah.
time. Because
For
why?
sure, yeah.
We want to do this again.
Yeah,
So
we want this to come back. This is a reoccurring thing.
we don't want this to be a one and doneer, and we
Right.
want her to be like, wow, that was fun. We should call her over
You're right.
again. That is just visuals. If we smoke our white belts and our blue belts and we demolish them over and over and over again, they're not going to want to do it again.
Yeah.
So we gotta take it easy on these guys, because these are our chum. The white belt are the chum, the waters with the whites. That's where we learn our techniques and our drilling, and we learn how to, the cool thing that you saw on YouTube. We get to try it on them.
Right.
You can't
Yeah.
go making them sad and making them not want to come back. These are our guys. We gotta, like, they're just, yeah. That's a bad analogy, but that's the analogy I use.
What do you think causes most blue belts to quit?
Girlfriends.
Home life, girlfriends.
Yep, they come into jiu-jitsu, they have no confidence, no self-esteem, they're a little chubby. They start training, they immediately get confidence back because they've learned some stuff. They start walking, they're hanging out with their boys now at UFCs, they're throwing up shakas in the fucking pictures and shit. They've got this, like, literally injected you with alpha. And, like, now you're like, oh, I got teammates. These are my boys. Hey, yeah, I'm going to my boys to watch the fights. I'm not just staying home playing fucking Halo or whatever. And, like, they're just like, all of a sudden you got more of a swag to you. I'm wearing jiu-jitsu shirts. And, like, you got, like, more of a swag to you as a man genetically. And then all of a sudden now I've lost weight and now I'm a blue belt. And there's more pics on my social media. And, like, I have, like, this thing now. I found this team, this camaraderie, right? This is what I do. This is what I am. And what does a girl see when she sees, like, wow, this guy's he does this. He does jujitsu. He's like, he's got friends. He's cool. Oh, I like him. Boom. Get a girlfriend. What's the first thing a girlfriend does? Don't go to jujitsu tonight.
Oh.
Stay with me. You gain your fucking weight back. You fucking stop going to jiu-jitsu because you hang out with this chick every day. Next thing you know, she leaves your ass. And then you come back to jiu-jitsu later, but you quit at blue belt. That's the number one reason why I think a lot of blue belts quit in life. And some people are, like, happy with the blue belt because blue belts are dangerous. Let's be honest. Blue belts can defend themselves a little bit. Blue belts will beat the normal dude up in the street if they're taught correctly. So maybe black belt's not what they want. Maybe it's injuries, but I like to say it's girlfriends.
That's fair. I yeah, that's part of the reason why I stopped fighting. I had a girlfriend at the time. She was like, "No, you don't need to fight anymore." Blah blah blah. And I was like, "All right." And then I stopped. So I totally get it. It's fucking. That's real.
You know how many times my wife is not a jiu-jitsu fan. I can't get my wife to wear a gi, not even for a dirty picture, dude.
Not even a little role play,
Not even a little fun dirty picture, dude. Not even, dude. And she's anti jiu-jitsu. But she's my whole relationship. Don't go, stay with me. Let's watch another episode of the OC or some shit. You know what I mean? I'm like, dude, I'm out of here. I'm
Yeah.
out of here, man. I gotta go. Like, come on, fucking. I was like, I just go to training, go to training. This is why you like me.
Yeah.
When
Yeah. He
you're
likes
in
me 'cause I can beat
jujitsu
up
and you get a girl, don't forget why you got the girl.
Right.
You like it because of this swag I'm carrying, this confidence I'm portraying because of this beautiful art. This has helped me bring it out. The most introverted, nerdy guys mangling people, like they're not nerdy when they're rolling.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They could be introverted as shit, but all of a sudden they're on the mat and they're confident and they're lapel dragging you and they're helping you and they're talking and they're social. Like this is what jujitsu brought this out. Let's not forget what brought us to the dance here to get these girls, boys.
Yeah. I mean, being a purple belt, I can't be getting numbers on the sideline, like you suggested. That's what you want in your purple belts, talking to the moms, getting the numbers
Purple
on the
belt
side.
pimps, baby. Purple belt
I'm
pimps. I'm the fucking leader of the purple
I'm
belt
married.
pimp
So
revolution. You know what I mean? They're out there, dude. Purple belts will still they got their fucking haircuts. They got their fucking part in their hair. They're fucking a little late to class. They're swag. Look at that. Look at, hey, he does. They're swagging in. You know what I mean? Like they're good. They're dominating in class. They can kind of predict their rounds. They're helping with the kids' class. The moms in the kid class, like, wow, man, he's really good with my daughter. Wow. It's dangerous. Careful, boys.
wait till you see how I am at your house.
It's a respectable belt, right? So a purple belt is a respectable belt. It's the belt you don't really need to black and white your photo.
Yeah.
White and blue, you black and white your photo, or because it makes your belt look darker in the photo. You know what I mean? You get the purple belt, you just let that purple show, baby.
Yeah.
Because people know purple belts are dangerous. Purple belt is a hard belt to get. Purple belt is an advanced belt to get. Purple belts are black belts at some things. So there's something they do in their game, Drew, probably wrist locks, that is black belt level. You know what I mean? So purple belts do that. So you you don't have to black and white your photo. You can peacock a little bit in class because if you get a purple belt from a professor, basically your professor is being like, stick with me, I'm going to give you a black belt someday. Like you have now been christened as mine.
Yeah. I know when I first got to my current gym, I was a 1-stripe blue belt, and I rolled with like a 3-stripe blue belt, and I just got fucking torched by this guy, and I was like, "Oh my god, there's levels to this game." Now that I'm a purple belt underneath him, I'm still dealing with some huge imposter syndrome, to be honest. I just got it like last month, and so he asked me a few nights ago. He was like, "How does it feel getting your purple belt? You feel like you got superpowers or what?" I was like, "I feel like an imposter." He's like, yeah, well, you're gonna get your brown belt and feel this way, and you're gonna get your black belt and feel this way too. So I mean, sorry.
Your belt is supposed to be heavy. What I
Yeah,
mean by that is you're supposed to feel like, wow, do I deserve this? But if you come under a legit banner, your professor is legit, you just got to believe it. Sometimes professors will give a belt to motivate. I've seen my professor give someone a blue belt who didn't really deserve a blue belt skill wise, but he said he's not coming to class anymore. He's been missing, or a blue belt like that's really inconsistent because he's whatever, like we just talked about. Give them, I've seen him give maybe a purple belt and all of a sudden, that guy's like new fire in him, and he's at class every day, and he's training. You know what I mean?
right.
So all belts feel like you don't deserve it, and the quickest way to fix your imposter syndrome is compete.
That
Get
was a
into a
perfect segue.
competition. Get in competition. Win one match at purple. Like, okay, well, I'm not the worst purple belt in the world. I won one guy, so I am a purple belt. I don't know where I am at the purple belt landscape, but I know I'm not the worst. So I
Yeah.
do belong here. That's the fastest way to defeat imposter syndrome is get a W at the said belt that you're at.
So that was a perfect segue actually, because I have competed before, and I always find that like I don't get nervous until I'm about to step on the mat, and in my head I'm trying to tell myself like, hey man, it's just another roll, just relax. But obviously, that it's not just another roll. Like this guy's over here trying to rip your wrist off, if you're me. But Um, how do you manage your nerves during competition? And do you feel like people need to compete in order to level up?
They don't need to compete to level up, but I do think that there's two different types of level of person you can either be a gym black belt or you can be a comp gym black belt. And the comp gym black belt does give you more credit, especially if you're going to open a school one day. You know what I mean? People are going to Google you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's some bomb guys in the gym, but especially with your peers, you will be looked at a little differently by your peers, unfortunately, if you don't have any competition in your game. For the nerves part, I used to be nervous a lot, but what helped me the most is not rolling in the moment. And what I mean by not rolling in the moment is I would roll because I'm rolling for my future generations of my family bloodline. So I'm rolling. No one's going to know what you did at Jiu Jitsu World League last week in 20 years. But the pictures, when you're in hospice in your bed and your grandkids are going through these photos and they see you, what's this medal? What's this? They're not going to know what happened in that match, but they're like, oh, dude, Grandpa Drew was a fighter. Grandpa Drew really got after it. Boom, boom, boom. So I'm rolling for the future. So when I put my mindset to that, when I change my mindset to be like, look, I'm not rolling for this moment. This moment, whatever it is, I'm rolling for when I look back in 5 years, the photos I have for my social media, the memories, the lessons I'll be able to tell future generations. When I kind of switched that out and I was kind of rolling for legacy, not for in the moment, it kind of helped eliminate my nerves because no one's going to really remember this in 2 weeks. No one knows what you did. No one knows what you did in your last MMA fight unless you tell them.
Right.
I mean, unless you're in the UFC, you know what I mean? Yeah. But like, no one knows, you know, and those photos that you have of that fight, your grandkids aren't going to know what the fuck happened in those fights, but they're going to look at those photos and be like, wow, especially women, look at mom used to fight. Whoa. Yeah. Like, they're not going to know, did she win this? They don't know.
Photos. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they don't know. So once I started thinking like that, I was like, done. Like that, it would help with my nerves. And then during my mindset during my tournament is a lot of people, they have this dream of being on the podium and being the winning and the glory. And I just kind of turned myself into the villain. Like I'm not into the dreams of being great. I'm into nightmares. And my job is to be a fucking nightmare. I'm the reason why your dream isn't coming true. So I would walk in there in villain fucking mode. And that's how I get in my tournaments. Like, oh, your dream is to stand up there and think, not today, bitch. And like, so my whole thing would be like, my mindset was be the villain out there and like make their dreams unattainable. Like, sorry. So that was like that's my whole mindset of like when I try to compete, like I'm the bad guy, and like your whole dream of your little profile pic is not happening today, dude. So that's kind of my mindset live and my mindset of getting rid of my nerves.
That's awesome. I really like that a lot. Actually, I've never, like my last tournament, I tried to just think about it like, I'm on the sidelines, kind of just listening to like Mac Miller or whatever, just kind of chilling. I'm like, it's just another roll, because I know if I relax, I can do what I want to do and have a good time, and fuck it. But the second I got taken down, I was like, all this shit it's almost like unavoidable. But I'm gonna try that next time. I'm gonna try to be the bad guy.
Be the bad guy, and also, I don't recommend especially newer guys. Your newer guys, you're going to bring your kids, you're going to bring your wife, your grandma, your mom, your sister. Everyone's going to come to your first jiu-jitsu tournament. And like, that's just adding nerves to you.
Yeah.
Like, so like, and at white belt, it's real scary because you're like, your wife's looking at you and being like, wow, this guy doesn't know anything. Also just whooped your ass. You know what I mean? Like at black belt, there's no nerves. Like my wife comes, which she would never. My wife comes and she sees me lose to another black belt. It's like, well, that guy's a black belt too. Like it is what it is. But at white belt, when you both don't know nothing, it's very intimidating, and nobody wants to fall in front of their girl. Why not leave your family at home? Go fight with your team. Your team's all there. They see you lose every fucking night.
Yeah, they don't give a
There's
shit.
no nerves. What are the nerves? Your
Yeah.
professor, I'm gonna say this right now. Your professor is just happy that you're competing. Your professor is happy that you're putting on a line and you're just going after it as a man. He doesn't care if you win. He doesn't care if you lose. A gold medal photo on his IG story doesn't really help him that much as you think it does. He's just happy that you're getting after it. I promise you that. There's nothing to be um a lot of people think that I don't want to let my professor down by not competing right. He doesn't care. He's already got your $170, dude. He does not care if
Yeah.
you he doesn't care if you win or if you lose. He just wants you to enjoy the journey that is jujitsu.
He's openly expressed that to us as well. He's like, "Hey, I don't give a fuck if you win, lose, or draw. Like, I just want to see you get out there and put yourself out there."
Yeah, man, just get after it, dude. Like we're all teammates, we're all friends here.
Yeah.
Like you lose in front of me every day. Like, and there's stuff for professors too. Like sometimes I'll be competing, and some of the guys that I teach will be like, I felt that nerves. I'm trying to be in my villain mode here, this same old dance. And I'm like, dude, all my students are watching right now, me go against this guy. I gotta beat this guy. And then I get out of my head like, no, I don't have to beat this fucking guy. I'm going to, but I don't have to. It's like they're just they know what I do. They
Right.
know. There's like I'm not gonna be like, well, we can't train under Matt anymore. He got last. He got smoked. He got wrist
Right.
locked in
Right.
15 seconds. You know what I mean? Like, no, man, they like me for me. They like me for oh, what I am as a man and what I can show them. So the pressure for a black belt also feels that too. Like you don't want to let your students down. But I assure you right now, um, I don't think you'd be upset if you saw your professor lose in a tournament.
No.
You're like, damn, he got caught. Fuck. All right.
Yeah.
Good shit. Let's go get pizza.
Pretty
It's
much it.
like,
That's all that
but it's
is.
like, but dude, the mental, our
Yeah.
minds are so powerful that our mental like really fucks with us.
Yeah. Every time I go out there, like, I think when I was fighting, it was different because I'm like, "All right, I'm gonna hit this dude. I'm gonna get hit. I'm gonna he's gonna try to hurt me. I'm gonna try to hurt him." But then when I shifted to jujitsu, I've just been kind of like, he's a dad. He's got a full-time job. Like, I'm not trying to rip his heel off of him or anything like that. It's a different like mindset I think you have to get into to compete jujitsu than to fight MMA.
Oh, it's definitely more of a kill, right?
Yeah.
For sure. I do see that for sure. Like when I was doing MMA, yeah, we were trying to hurt each other pretty bad.
Yeah.
You
And
gotta
that's
be
the I
more of a
think
human being.
right, yeah, jujitsu, you're thinking of more of, like I said, a father, he's got a job, he's got a career, I don't wanna fuck that up, but in MMA, you're like, "I don't give a fuck, I'll knock this guy out in front of his family."
Yeah, you don't care.
It doesn't bother me at all, yeah. Um, so over the years of you training jujitsu, how do you think it's changed you? For the better, for the worse, just overall?
It's kind of given me a second identity. I whether it's a fault or not, um I have this thing where I want to be the greatest Veiga my bloodline's ever that's ever been. I want to be the one in my family. Um I just want to be a regular guy. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with being just a regular guy, a good dad, a good husband. I think that's the best thing you can be. But to me, I don't want to be forgotten. I want my great grandkids to be like, oh, why are we where we are right now? Oh, because of great grandpa Matt. You know what I mean? He's the one. He's the one who like put us on the map with this or whatever. And I feel like jujitsu's kind of given me confidence to uh, be like the go chase because I failed passing. I failed at this sweep. I failed at the, and all of a sudden you overcome. It teaches you how to overcome and be like live forever. And like I started this social media because I was raised by my mom and my grandparents, but like there's like no video of my grandparents because VHS, right? So like there's like no like there was no social media. So like I don't even remember what they sound like. I don't even remember their voices anymore, really. I remember some moments, but these people raised me and I kind of don't remember them. But now, like if my daughter, and she's gonna be some cringy stuff on there, but if she wanted to find out what dad, I just want to hear dad, and she could type my name in, and there's dad just talking for there's so much of me. on the internet now.
Yeah.
And if your kids were ever like, I want to hear dad, this podcast, just pop an episode in. And now you hear dad talking and you hear like, you know what I mean? Like, so we're kind of are living forever. And I think jiu-jitsu has given me a platform and given me a skill set to where I can like put myself out there and I can kind of maybe teach some people some stuff or give somebody a different mindset change or give somebody something that can like help them express themselves or another form of expression that maybe like help them maybe live forever.
Man, that's awesome. I've never thought about it that way in terms of like putting yourself out there in social media, hearing people like I grew up with both my parents and they live 30, 45 minutes away from me. But you think about like in the past, that's a super neat way of thinking about it. I love that.
A lot of my mindset is like living into the future. It could be to your detriment. Sometimes I'm so far of thinking of what my future legacy is going to be that I'm not living in the moment with what's happening right now. So
Yeah.
I have really, even me, I have to really kind of walk that line, and I think that's where my wife comes in good. And she's like, "Hey, man, let's focus. Like let's like just like put all that away and let's hang out right here. Let's play a board game." You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like I really have to like it's a fight. That's a big juggle for me. But I really do focus on what people are going to think of me in 60 years. That to me, like that is like, and I feel like if you aim for if you aim high, right? You aim high, maybe I land somewhere here,
Yeah.
but like, why not aim here? And I just don't want to be I don't want to be a regular guy where my great grandkids don't even know who I was. Like, so if you ask me who my great grandfather was, I don't even know.
Yeah. I'm
And
with you.
I don't want that to be me. I want them to, oh, yeah, grandpa Matt was a coral belt in jujitsu, had this, had that. Watch, type his name. That's my grandpa. Look, it's like all in fucking color. Like, well, this like all scrambly, horrible video, but look at this is all him talking. Look at this is him. Like I want that.
That's awesome, man. I do really like that. That not analogy, but that
You're
way of
basically making a time capsule. So there would be some times in a podcast. That's why the BJJ Balance podcast, there'll be times where like me and Kenny get really, real serious and we talk about our love for our kids and like that is strategically done, or like I'll put that in strategically to be like someday they might, yeah, look, I just talked about purple belt pimps and nasty stuff, but like all of a sudden they found this where like, wow, there's my dad talking about being a dad and how important it is. And like like this is cool right here. Like it really touched them. Like someday I hope they find it. You know what I mean? Like, or like they say they find this episode. You know
yeah,
what I mean? And
yeah,
they'll be like, dude, look, he was talking about us and like how playing board games and like it means something to them.
yeah. And I mean that BJJ balance is kind of that the name says it all. You got to have a
Right.
balance between jiu-jitsu and life itself. And it sounds like you have a great balance. That's awesome.
Trying every day.
Yeah. I know it can be a struggle because like I think in the future too, and I think like, oh fuck, what if I don't do this? What if I don't do that? And it all crumbles and all that. And I have to constantly like reel myself back in. And it's not all with jujitsu. Like I didn't even think I would become a purple belt, to be honest with you. But so like I'm here now and I'm like, oh shit, I got here. Like this
You're
is cool.
here.
Like I said, I was up here and I'm slowly creeping my way up, but I totally understand that. It can definitely cause some anxiety thinking that far ahead too.
For sure. For sure.
Um,
100%.
when you're rolling with people, the guy that asked me about the wrist locks, he wanted me to ask you this question too. I'm sorry. I know I know you're not really an interview guy, but I gotta.
Hey, no. I like the interview, but I just like I feel it's funner when I throw stuff back at you. Yeah, I
I
mean, I think that
yeah,
makes a conversation is funner than just standard interview. So like,
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah.
He was saying, usually I'll give you an example. Whenever I roll with my teammates, I'm talking shit to them all the time. I'm like, I'm rolling with them, and I'm like, the other day I was rolling with a good friend of mine. He was smashing me in full mount, and I was like, pause. Sorry, you can only talk like that in jujitsu. You know what I'm saying? You can't talk about that in regular life. So he was, he was on top of me and smashing me, or whatever. And I turned up at him and I go, it's not bad for a bitch.
No.
So he wanted me to ask you, what's your favorite way to disrespect your friends on the mat?
Oh, um, hmm. Sometimes I pick him up and I carry him around the mat like a baby.
Yeah.
Like I'll be in side control and I'll cradle their head and I'll just stand up and I'll start walking them around. And I'll walk around, I'll start coaching other guys while I'm holding them. And I'll be like, "Hey man, your hip's wrong." But hey, let me down. Like the littles, you know what I mean? I'll do that to them sometimes. Sometimes I've done that before. The thing that people hate the most is like if like you start coaching somebody else while you're rolling. Like, hey, now move your hip, now move your hip. And you're like, this guy's like, I'm fighting for my life down here, and you're
Yeah.
coaching someone else in the round. Like, so there's stuff like that. That's I saw this video clip where I would never do this, but it was pretty fucked up. The guy would be like, when you hold resistance and what like you pull on someone's arm, the guy's gonna want to pull back. So the
Mhm.
guy would full mount guys and you start pulling up on their arm. And when the white belt would want to pull back, he'd let go, boom, and they hit themselves in the face.
Oh my god,
I
that's
was like, that's a real dick move, dude. But like I
yeah,
saw that. I saw that before. I was like, that's pretty funny.
that is pretty funny. I mean, it's happened to me, not to hit myself in the face, but the coaching when you're rolling with someone, I was rolling with this black belt. He was a smaller black belt too. He wasn't a big dude, and he had me in like back control or whatever, and he was sitting there talking to another person. I was like, God damn, man, I'm fucking
Yeah,
over
you're
here trying to
fighting,
get out of these power
R.
chokes and
Kelly.
shit.
I'm fighting for my fucking life over here.
Yeah, yeah. Y'all killing me with this shit over here.
And you're over here just talking about dinner
Yeah.
plans. Yeah.
What do you think is the hardest belt to get? And well, actually, let me say, what do you think is the most fun belt in jiu-jitsu?
The most fun belt.
I've heard various things from various people. I know the hardest one, everyone says is the white belt, but
I think the blue belt is the funnest belt to have because you have low expectations. You know a little bit. Every belt you're going after could be a shock the world moment. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And like
yeah,
a real dirty blue belt, like you're going in there like I'm supposed to lose, and then all of a sudden you get you fuck up a brown belt or something. Like you get the best of them, like, and you beat me. There's no problem there. I lost to a brown belt, but like you could just you're just like that little like pesky blue that can like just really ruin someone's night. I think that's a fun belt to have. Being a black belt's cool. I mean, getting a black belt's freaking awesome. Facing the class and like you know what I mean? Not really having
yeah,
to do warm-ups anymore and like it's pretty cool. Like I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty cool to do. But I think blue belt was the funnest belt. Some people would say purple belt's pretty fun if you're after that in that life, you know what I mean? Uh but when it comes to rolling, I think blue belt was fun because you know a little bit, especially a bigger blue belt, you know a little bit, you're and you could just you just shock the world every night with some bullshit. You know what I mean? Like you just
yeah,
like, dang, especially the little like brown belts. They're like, dude, this fucking 250-pound blue belt is a problem, dude. He's like knows his balance now. He doesn't get swept anymore. He's heavy. Like, I don't want to roll with him. And you could just like ruin someone's night.
yeah. Or the rest of their week if you
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
yeah.
No
Oh,
one
that's
wants to roll with the big scrappy blue belt on a Friday night because
right.
you
Just
got
fuck your
freaking
weekend
3
up.
days before you get your revenge.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man. So I've got another friend of mine. He wears headgear, you know.
Oh, come on, man.
uh,
Come on, man.
what's your so I you've spoken to him before. You've spoken about it before in previous podcasts about wearing headgear. You're just kind of looking like a
Yeah.
little bitch about things.
I'll say it again. I'm gonna give it for you. Look at you wear headgear. What's his name? So you
His
can
name's Ian.
Ian. You're out here. Ian. You're out here. You're wearing headgear. Okay. You're already wearing a gi.
He's
Okay.
not. He's a 10th Planet guy.
He's like, oh, so you're okay. You're wearing spats and you're wearing a fight kit and a rash guard with headgear on. You're looking real silly. Anybody in the real world would look at you if you're walking around state everybody's like that. Like, well, look at this guy. Okay. So you're wearing this headgear. Jiu-jitsu is dangerous. You could die, right? That's what we're doing. We're strength. You could die in jiu-jitsu. Obviously, you're probably not, but we do die. It could happen.
Yeah.
And what happens if you die?
He dies.
You
He
become a
dies.
ghost. You want to be your ghost clothes? Those are your ghost clothes, dude.
Yeah.
Do you want to have headgear on as your ghost clothes? No,
You
nobody
can't take
does,
that off.
dude. You can't take that off. You be rattling chains with headgear on at fucking 10th Planet that went under, and now it's like a Safeco. And you're just walking around like you're just at Costco in the rash guard with the fucking, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, it's not. You're not scaring nobody. I'll be like, look at this ghost has headgear. He was a sissy. embrace the cauliflower ear, dude.
What do you think
What are
is
you a model, Ian? Are you a model, Ian? Ian, are you a model? Does your face make you money?
it
No.
doesn't.
Are you a hot chick, Ian? No, you're not. You're a dude. Who gives a fuck? Get those ears.
Just
Now,
let it
if
ride.
the only reason I would accept headgear is if you have active cauliflower ear and you have to compete in a couple weeks and you don't want to miss out on training and they're hurting real bad, protect them. I get it. But if you're wearing preventative headgear so you don't get cauliflower ear, single mom soft. That's
Why do
single
you
mom
think
soft,
this?
dude. Your
Why do
dad
you
would be like, take that shit off.
Yeah, you gotta rip that shit off your head, man. Why do you what do you think is the obsession with, like, people getting cauliflower? I'm sure you've heard about, like, white belts, like or just regular people like Steve-O putting his fucking ear in, like, a plate and smashing it and all that shit. Well,
I think it's because you want to look like you're good at fighting. It's imposter syndrome the wrong way, right? You want to look you're trying to front. I think a lot of lower belts do that because or white belts that have been training for a couple years because they want to tell their friends like, yeah, I'm training every day. But like then your friends will be like, well, what belt are you? You're like, I'm white belt, I'm a blue belt, and that's not cool, right?
yeah,
But like you want to be like, oh, I'm purple belt, like, oh shit, yeah, wow, he's got so. But if you have cauliflower ear, no one even questions that. They're just like, oh, this guy fights. Like, what
yeah,
belt are you? Like, oh yeah, I'm this. And, oh, all right. Like, so it's like it's just kind of like makes you look tougher than you really are. Um, Once you get to higher belts, your belt does that for you. So
right.
just fucking stick to jujitsu, and you don't have to fucking. I don't have any cauliflower ear,
I
but
was gonna
I'm
say,
big.
some people just don't get it.
I have real flimsy ears. Like they like bend all over the place. Like I
Yeah.
just genetically have really good ears when it comes to like that kind of stuff. So I was fortunate there. But like I've said I've said this before. It's kind of like it's kind of like getting pregnant, right? So Ian, this is your defense, okay? This is your defense. Cauliflower is kind of like being pregnant. Like yeah, I can say, hey, don't wear headgear. Just have the cauliflower. But I've never had cauliflower.
Right,
It's kinda like when you get pregnant, you'd be like, "Hey, I would keep the baby." You know what I mean?
right.
"I'm keeping this baby."
Yeah.
Like, d but, like, all of a sudden I get cauliflower, I get pregnant, like, "Hey, man, get this baby out here." I
Put it
don't
in the
want
condom.
it. I don't want it no more. Give me the headgear.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a bad analogy too. Alright.
I thought it was great. I thought that was perfect. Yeah, I mean, some people just never get it. Some people get it, like, instantaneously. I have flimsy ears too, so mine crumple up all over the place, and,
Yeah, it doesn't
like,
matter to me.
I've gotten it, like, very, very small, minute amounts, and
Ian
it
needs to
never
work on
happened.
his takedowns. Ian, you're probably butt scooting, dude, and you're probably
He's an
playing
ankle
bottom.
picker.
Ankle pick, huh?
Yeah.
You're probably playing bottom a lot, dude. You're probably getting smashed. Get on top, baby. Rest those ears.
So, yeah, like, my professor has, like, really, really bad cauliflower ears.
And
There
that's
was
good for
nothing he could have
business. You
done.
saw that guy like, oh, this guy's been the best. You professor, like if you have a
Yeah.
professor and you have cauliflower, you're like, oh, this guy's no joke.
It's nature's warning sign too. You don't fuck with the guys with cauliflower ear, you know?
No,
Do you
no.
find that, like, when you're out and about and, like, you might not be wearing a jiu-jitsu shirt or whatever, and, like, since you don't have the cauliflower ears, you're like, "Man, no one thinks I can beat people up in this, but I could fuck everybody in this place up."
Generally being a bigger guy, I'm not people's first choice,
Yeah.
even before I was training. I'm not somebody at first glance you're like, "Oh, I'm gonna try to fight this guy." Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like it's I generally don't get that. Like no drugs being like, "Oh, what the fuck?" Like I don't really get that very often. So I was fortunate genetically that
Yeah.
doesn't really happen to me. Um, but I've never really had to one time. I did some bouncing before and I had to like use some kind of like underhooks to get people out of the bar. But like I've never one time I put my mom's boyfriend to sleep with a head arm choke one time because he was being rude to her. But I've really never had to use my jujitsu outside of sanctioned jujitsu, which is wild.
That's good though. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like
I'm
that's
happy for it. Like,
yeah.
I would not want to fight anybody. Fighting hurts. Dude. Your hands get
No.
all sore and shit. Like, I would like want to like, especially you don't know what people have.
Yeah. Now for
Jujitsu
sure.
is defense, but well, imagine me like just getting killed,
Yeah.
like over like we
Yeah.
all, you know, what I mean, what's his name? Leandro Lowe,
Yeah.
R.I.P. Dude, like one of the greatest of all time. I've met him. I've trained with him. I got honored to do that. Awesome dude. Got killed at a nightclub. And for what? Like, I don't know the
Yeah.
backstory. I know the guy's an idiot for doing it, but you don't know what someone has. We Jiu-Jitsu is an MMA, and any martial arts that's just weapon free is a secondary option for self-defense. And I think a lot of people think that they want to make it a primary, especially the better you get at jiu-jitsu. They should always think of it as a secondary. Your firearm should be first.
Yeah. Yeah.
You should be like, someone breaks into my house, the jiu-jitsu is the last thing they got to deal with.
Right. Like Joey Diaz on that show, he was the guy was like, "What did you use? Would you use the jiu-jitsu training or the New Jersey?" And Joey Diaz goes, "The gun, bitch."
I mean,
That's exactly right.
if I have to, then yeah, if it comes down to that, I'm glad I have jiu-jitsu in my back pocket. I got a lot of years of it, but hopefully it doesn't get there. Hopefully the house alarm
Yeah, that's
goes
yeah.
and they run, the house alarm, the dog,
Yeah.
then me with the long range weapons, and then the jiu-jitsu. There's like 4 things you got to deal with. But
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are so confident in their jiu-jitsu as in a public situation that they need to realize that it's not dangerous, especially in Texas. Everybody's carrying. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
read the room where you're at, dude. Like,
Where I'm in
just run
Texas now.
away.
Yeah.
Suck your ego up. Especially if you train jujitsu a lot, your ego should be pretty fucking good because you've probably took some L's.
Yeah.
It's just that you're trying to posture in front of your girl. Usually it's a female around. You're trying to like act like I can defend you. You're defending her by getting the fuck out of there. And if she's getting mad at you for not sticking up for her, she needs to reassess herself, because there's no reason for anybody to die over some beer, usually.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's nobody wants to fight anymore now either. So even if you did square up with somebody, their first line of defense is going to be the gun or whatever first.
Right.
So
Yeah.
back in the day, 10, 15 years ago, people would scrap all the time and that was it. But now nobody wants to lose.
You can't even take your family to a dang football game now.
Right. Yeah.
The stands are always fighting. I'm in SoCal,
Yeah.
so Rams games and Raider fans and stuff, like, this is crazy over here. People just be throwing hands all over the place. I'm like, dude, you can't even take your kids to a game because some drunk is going to spill beer on your chick, or
Yeah.
then you got a whole problem. Now, you know where a jiu-jitsu guy is dangerous? Disneyland. There is nobody has a weapon, dude. They search you. They take all your there's not even a glass at that place, dude.
There isn't. Yeah.
The most
You looking
dangerous
to
when
fight,
I'm
go to
walking with
Disneyland.
my family at Disneyland, like, your boy's fucking dangerous right now. Honey, how safe do you feel right now? I'm pretty confident that we're pretty dangerous right now, dude. You're so protected right now.
I love that. So we're getting to the tail end of this. I just have another quick question. What do you feel about how do you feel about stripes in jiu-jitsu? When you promote guys, do you give stripes before or not?
I believe stripes are cool. I mean, people love tape. Like,
Yeah.
stripes are a tool. Stripes matter at black belt because that actually means degrees, right?
Right.
And like my professor says, stripes just mean you're getting old at black belt,
Yeah.
which is true. But stripes as a white belt, as a blue belt, it kind of like lets the professor know, like, oh, this guy's got 4 stripes on his white. He's close to his blue. Let me watch him roll a little more. I know promotions is coming up. Let me roll, especially if you have a huge class, right? Let me maybe roll with him to see and put him in spots that he should know how to get out of to see if he's ready for his blue. Like, stripes is kind of like a measuring stick for professors to see where you're at in jiu-jitsu. So they do tell a story of like how good you should be. So I think they're important. I loved every time I got a stripe. I was not like, oh, the stupid tape. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely feel like it adds that reassurance. If you need some sort of validation, like I mean, I always felt like getting a stripe is like, all right, I'm getting recognized. I'm headed in the right direction. I'm not being stagnant. I'm not hitting. I mean, I may be hitting plateaus, but I'm showing back up and being consistent and all this shit.
That first stripe too. That first stripe on your white belt is a big deal.
Yeah.
because you're like, wow, I've been getting my ass beat for 6 months.
Right. Right.
And,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
and
Maybe I'm
like
learning something.
wow, he reckoned he's been watching me lose. Like, I'm
Yeah.
part of the team now. I'm not just a normal guy off the street. Me and the trial guy are not the same anymore. And I think
Right.
that's a big step for somebody. It's like, I'm a one stripe white belt. Like, my journey has started. I'm not just like on a trial basis anymore. I think that first stripe on your white belt is major.
Yeah. It gives you the confidence to keep coming back. And like you said, you're still getting your ass beat in training. It's not like that's going to change, but
My daughter right now has started training, and she's no stripes. She's just started 7 years old. I had to wait till she was 7 because my wife, if she says she hates jujitsu, my wife would be like, that's it. So like I had to wait till she was 7. I didn't want to put her in at 4, and then
yeah.
all of a sudden her just be like, I don't like it. And all she learned was play jump the snake with the belt. You know what I mean? Like she has, if I'm gonna put her in, I'm put her in at 7, so maybe she can retain some stuff.
Yeah.
So I put her in, and right now, she's doing good, but she doesn't know anything, and so she's getting smoked
Yeah.
by these kids. But I'm so proud of her. She's gamey, dude. She's out there, she's getting after, she's fighting, and like, some of the parents are like looking at me like when she's losing, and I'm just sitting there like I'm not coaching from the sidelines. I'm letting the other professors coach, the kids' classes coach, and I'm just being a dad in the stands, and I know when she gets that first stripe, she's gonna be so excited. So
Yeah.
like that first stripe it's major.
But being a dad and watching them, not to like sideline coach because like, oh, I'm not on the mat. Let's let the kids coaches do their thing. And I'm assuming that she knows that you're, whenever if she has questions, she can ask you and you'll be able to answer them. But I think
Yeah.
it's
Well,
more.
I can't show her nothing. No, no,
Yeah.
no. Let's call this out what it is. My daughter will be like, I know, Dad. I'm like, look,
Yeah,
you have
you're
this
like,
grip here, and you go here. I know, Coach so and so said this way though. I'm like, all right, whatever, man.
whatever, keep getting smashed. I don't care.
Yeah, whatever, dude. Like you're just like your mom.
Oh, that's awesome. Do you think jujitsu is probably like the best for like younger kids? People get them in boxing and karate and taekwondo and stuff like that, especially for girls. In my personal opinion, I think jujitsu and like any grappling art is it's better.
I think jujitsu for females, for women, is the best. I get in trouble for saying females, but that's weird. But for women, jujitsu is the best thing you can have because it keeps you the safest, I think.
Yeah.
Um, Shout out to all the other martial arts, Muay Thai, all of it is better than not having none of it,
Yeah.
right? So it's all better than something, but if you're doing Muay Thai class and you're kicking paddles and you're doing hitting mitts or whatever you're doing, and some guy comes out and grabs you outside of a Walmart and you
Yeah.
freaking elbow across the forehead on him, he's probably going to look at you and call you an expletive word and push you on the ground and throw you on the ground. Then what are you? Now you're playing bottom with your feet up, and
Yeah.
you got to work on, your guard. So a jiu-jitsu, you can get to an overhook, you can close your guard, you can scream for help. Waiting for help is so important from a female perspective or a woman's perspective because your jiu-jitsu needs to be taught to keep you alive. Sometimes I'll have my girls rolling in class and it'll be 3 minutes on the timer, and I'll be like, Christina, 3 minutes till the cops get here. And
Mhm.
that's what I tell her. You're rolling with a man. It's 3 minutes till the cop gets here. That guard needs to be tits. You do not let him pass. You got 3 minutes. I'm not telling you hit him with an armbar. I'm not telling you to cross choke him, sweep him. I need you to stay alive for 3 minutes. And then I tell the male, I go, I want you to try the pass. She
Yeah.
needs so I put these situations in there. As the cops are here in 3 minutes. And then same thing with kids. Why not your kid to be a bully? Put him in jiu-jitsu. Let him get mangled. Do you think my daughter's gonna be a bully now? She's been getting mangled for 2 weeks, dude.
Right. No.
2
Yeah.
weeks, she's just be getting through it, dude.
Humble pie.
She knows what it feels like that this is not fun. Why
Yeah.
would you do that to somebody else?
Yeah.
And then, you know what I mean? It also prepares them for the bull. So it teaches a bully not to be a bully. And then it also teaches if a bully comes, I know what to do. I know how to stay alive. I know how to wait for the teachers to come for help. I know how to break someone's little kid's arm if he deserves it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so of course, I think it's the best. It's the best. It's the best way. If my daughter ever got in a fight and I showed up to the office and she was sitting there and the other kid was sitting there and they both had zero damage,
That's
zero damage done. And I'm like, what happened? Oh, dad, he started fighting with me. I swept him. I put him in a scarf hold and I just waited for the teachers to come. I'm like, beautiful.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's my wife and I have talked about that as well before too. I'm just like, I want to get him in jiu-jitsu just in case for shit like that,
Yeah.
especially now. Like, I feel like now
What we
schools,
know, you're a purple belt, you're an advanced belt. What you know now, could you imagine something happening to one of your kids and being like something happening to my daughter in her 20s and me being the status that I am, or you being in the status that you are, knowing things, practicing stand up, practicing jujitsu, knowing that you could have done something to maybe help. And then all of a sudden now, unfortunately, your child has moved on. She's passed on because of some tragedy. And you're like, dude, all because I didn't show her what skill I had. Like, we show her how to tie her shoes because we use that skill. We show her how to fold laundry. We show her how to do the dishes. All these skills we show her. We teach her math and all this kind of stuff. But the one skill set that I'm actually very knowledgeable in, the one aspect that I'm actually like a professional at, I didn't show her. Like, I could not live with myself if that happened. So she's gonna be the weapon. She's gonna be the person that she deserves to be. You know what I mean? Like, because I got to give her that confidence, and I need to be able to know, like, when my daughter moves out of the house someday and she's no longer here, I don't know who she's going to date. I don't
right?
know what that guy's going to be like. I don't know if her house is going to be safe, but I want to give her the tools to keep herself safe till I get there.
Yeah. No, absolutely. That's what me and my wife were talking about. It was like, I want to teach them, or at least put them in a school where they can be taught and learn self-defense. It doesn't have to be boxing, or I'd prefer the grappling arts, just because of, like, I told another buddy of mine, he's a former cop, and he was like, yeah, back when I was a police officer, I was getting into fights all the time, and now I don't feel as confident. I'm like, bro, just take up jiu-jitsu again, man, because as soon as you take somebody down in the street, it's game over for them. They don't know what they're doing, but you do. So,
Right.
and I feel like the same way with my future kids. I don't have any kids just yet, but we're expecting one right now.
That
Which
boy.
is great.
Congrats.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And
You are
yeah,
a purple belt, dude.
that's right. Yeah,
Come to find out, he is a purple belt, dude. You'll be a black belt by your time your kid starts training.
dude, that's crazy for me to think about.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So he'll be 5 years old. He'll go in the kindergarten, like, my dad's a black belt. It's gonna be pretty cool, dude. It's
that
pretty
would be
cool.
pretty cool. Yeah.
My daughter, my black belt to show and tell, and one of my jujitsu medals.
Oh, that's awesome. I
And
love that.
all the boys in the class think I'm a ninja now.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, I
You're
don't know,
like,
dude. I
hey,
don't kick.
I'm a little big
Do
to
a
be an
flip.
ninja.
I was like, I
Yeah,
don't do a flip, dude. You got diving board?
do a flip. Yeah. Oh man. Well, Matt, we're just about out of time here. I really do appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come on here and like I said, talk a little shit with me today about jiu-jitsu and just life in general. It was awesome. Thank you for coming on. I'm gonna give, if you want to shout out anybody or sponsorships, whatever, feel free.
Yeah. Uh, thanks for having me. First of all, bro, I had a good time. I love talking jujitsu. It looks like we just created a new friendship here, and that's pretty
Yeah,
cool. Uh,
yeah.
if you guys want to follow me on all social medias, it's at Oss Nation BJJ. Not for kids. Okay. At BJJ Balance is the podcast. You can find it anywhere, Spotify, all that good stuff. I got a Be the Weapon Oss Nation shirt. Okay. You can buy that. I have that on my Shopify website. It's in the link in my bio. Um, but yeah, just stay training, stay safe, and just embrace every second of your jujitsu journey. Don't look too far ahead. Try to live in the moment. I try to do that myself. I struggle with that, but we got to focus on the next neck. If you focus on the next neck, your belts will change. and just stay safe and just be a good teammate. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, man. I appreciate everything. Yeah, that was great. This has been the Matt Mindset. I'm Drew Elder. I hope everyone has a great day.
This is what the city been wanting. I know y'all patiently waiting. I do the shit in my sleep, so I had to get back to basics. Got the city tuned in, cause they know I'm going for greatness. They know I'm holding the crown, and they know I'm coming to take it.